Big show today, folks. Welcome. It's Monday. Big show. Do you know that cluster bombs are going to start raining down in the Ukraine? Thanks to you, American citizens, and your president. Could that be a Geneva Convention situation? Is there a problem with that? We're going to talk about that today. Also, commercial properties, folks, are about to hit 1.1 billion square feet in the United States vacant. Next big bomb to be dropped on our economy. We're going to talk about that today. And also, is China going to hold the world hostage? Because you do realize that they control at least 60% of the minerals that go into electric vehicles. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, folks. Big show today. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Big show today, folks. Welcome to Craig Bouchon Show. Always know we are here for you. This is the show for Americans, by Americans, and we are just getting started on this week. It's Monday. It's a beautiful week to be alive. What's the date today? It's 7/10. Man, we are marching fast towards the 24 election. A lot of stuff going on. And we're going to get right into it today because we have a lot of stuff to cover. Eric Thompson, producer extraordinaire. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Yes, we have a lot to cover today.
We do. I got a lot of notes written down, and it says monologue. You know what I'm doing with my monologue right now, folks? I'm drawing a line right through the monologue because my monologues can sometimes take up an entire segment of the show, and we don't have time for that today. But I will tell you something. I will bring this up. We have a brand new way for you to get a hold of us and to get a hold of Eric. Go to contact@craigbouchonshow.com. That's the email. contact@craigbouchonshow.com. That's where you want to go. That way, if you have questions or if you have issues, if you're trying to go sign, at americaican.com, you're trying to sign, get the plaque, all that growing movement with American that we're also going to talk about today, you can get a hold of us. And if you have questions, because remember, every Friday is Ask Craig Question Day. Yeah. And Eric is going to be sifting through all the emails and trying to he's trying to just figure out, what am I thinking? And because I don't know what the questions are, by the way. I don't know what the questions are when he's going to give them to me, and I'm not going to know what the questions are that you send in. So big stuff. I know, Eric, you're excited about that, getting the people to be able to jump into the show.
Well, this is all for the people. This is about
Right.
liberty. You and I can we have plenty of discussions on how we're going to save the world, but it's going to take a lot of people connecting to make the difference.
I believe it's 100 million. Ladies and gentlemen, 100 million Americans need to be engaged with what we're doing here at the Craig Bouchon Show and with American. 100 million. And I'm also counting, about a 15-year-old. About the 15-year-old mind can really start really understanding in depth about what we're talking about on the show. So let your kids, if they're 15 or older, or if you have a really, really smart, like 12-year-old, let them listen as well. But because some of the stuff we talk about, it's hard for them to absorb if you're really young. So really excited about that. But 100 million people, that is the goal. That's how we're going to move forward in this country. And because we need a super majority of adults, okay? These are 100 million adults I'm talking about here. And that need to be in lockstep to save the Union. This country is under attack. We're in World War III, and there's big issues. We're going to talk about them today. I think we're going to start today this cluster bomb scenario. We've got a lot of information coming out about cluster bombs. Jen Psaki in the past. I think back in 22 had an opinion on that. We're going to show that video. So bring the people up to speed, and then I want to discuss this whole, possible, folks, Geneva Convention breach. But is it or is it not? So go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, Gateway Pundit and all of the major outlets are dealing with this hypocrisy that the White House has now taken with the idea of Joe Biden is approving, he's overriding federal law, which prevents the use of cluster bombs by the United States or for providing them to other countries. And the justification, though, Craig, is, the Russians used them first, so, hey, Joe can use them second. And now if we go back a year ago, the press corps, White House press corps, actually asked the White House for comment. Here is Jen Psaki, the former White House press secretary, with them asking, Russia is using cluster bombs. What does the White House have to say about these war crimes?
There are reports of illegal cluster bombs and vacuum bombs being used by the Russians. If that's true, what is the next step of this administration, and is there a red line for how much violence will be tolerated against civilians in this manner that's illegal and potentially a war crime?
It would be. I don't have any confirmation of that. We have seen the reports. If that were true, it would potentially be a war crime. Obviously, there are a range of international fora that would assess that. So certainly we would look to that to be a part of that conversation.
Well,
so what do you think of that, Craig? What do you think of you shall not do as they say, not as I do, or whatever, however that goes?
First thing I'm going to say is that she looks like a clone replication female of Mark Zuckerberg.
She does.
Every time I see her, not to make jest of what we're talking about, she looks exactly like Mark Zuckerberg, but as a female. Okay, so obviously it's hypocrisy, but let's break this down. I think 100 countries signed, may have been back in 2010 possibly, that signed on, Germany is one of them. I think France, most of Europe and all that, they signed up that, hey, we're not going to use cluster bombs. The United States did not sign that. Ukraine did not sign that. Russia did not sign that. I'm sure China did not sign that, obviously. So it is not, we are not breaking some rule that we didn't sign it, period. Okay, so there is that out right there. So, but the real question is, should we be using it? Now, from what I understand, we are sending them our best cluster bomb technology that it sits down to about 2.5% failure rate. Okay, so you drop 1,000 of these things, 25 of them are going to, if I'm doing the math right, are going to not work or could blow up later. And they also promised, Ukraine did promise that they're not going to drop them where innocent people are at. So you got that too, right? But Jen Psaki, obviously, these people, it's like they can't understand that things are being recorded and that people can go back now and play this stuff. But they also know that most people aren't paying attention. Most people are never going to see that video. Most people don't care, okay, if they're on Biden's side. But should they drop these bombs? Man, war is hell, isn't it? It is. War is hell. I suspect that they're going to drop them because they're running out of ammunition. Isn't that the gist of this? They're running out of bullets, running out of bombs. So we're taking this older technology and we're using it. But we didn't sign it. And you got to think, why did we not sign on the dotted line in 2010? Well, it's because obviously they work. It scares the bejesus out of the enemy. And it's horrific for citizens. It's horrific. But war is horrific. So I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people out there are going to say, oh, America's the worst country in the world. They dropped a nuclear bomb. They had, or bombs. So I don't know, Eric. I think that it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, how it's used. I think it's a tragedy that the war is going on in Ukraine, even though Ukraine is a scumhole of a country with a lot of innocent people there that were put in place to be these to be used to be weaponized against the adversary, meaning that there's a lot of innocent people there that have been killed, and it's not their fault. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know if I answered the question, but I think it's a very, again, slippery slope on this subject, because Russia is very, very bad, and we keep hearing that possibly. I mean, what's the win? What is Russia going to win in Ukraine? There's no win anymore. It's becoming a wasteland. It is an absolute wasteland. And now I do realize that there's a lot of people who want to profit from this war, no doubt about it. We've talked about it, BlackRock and J.P. Morgan. But I don't know, Eric. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. But is it a Geneva Convention breach? Well, it depends on how they're used, quite frankly, and if they use them. I don't know if they've used them yet, or obviously they probably don't even have them yet. Maybe they're going to be en route.
Yeah, Ukraine hasn't. Supposedly Russia did, and Biden's saying, according to Breitbart, that, well, we're running out of weapons, so we got to drop something on the Russians. And since they used them first, Ukraine can use them. I'm going to, even though our Congress said no in the past, but I'm going to override that because Ukraine has to drop something on the Russians, so why not cluster bombs?
Well, it's an interesting subject because remember, there's a lot of propaganda too.
Yep.
There's a lot of propaganda. They may not be low on ammunition at all. Don't know. But the cluster bomb thing, look, again, our Defense Department is saying that we're giving them the best technology we have, which is a 2.5% failure rate. Okay. Remember, this is World War II technology, folks. This is old technology. This is old mechanized Cold War stuff. But that's really what's going on in Ukraine. It's a Cold War kind of battle, period. And it's going to be very interesting to see how does this play out in the end. Russia has already lost this war. There's no win for them anymore. It's just what grade of loss are they going to have? How bad is the loss going to be for them? Is really what it is. Ukraine is going to could be the downfall of the Russian military being a first power military, other than that they have nuclear weapons. That's it. If they didn't have nuclear weapons, folks, they would not be a world power when it comes to military. Fact. Would not be. That is over. That's why Iran can't get it. Because remember, don't let all this noise get you confused where Iran cannot be allowed to be able to shoot nuclear weapons across the world. Because you think Russia's radical, you ain't even seen nothing.
Do you think Putin is going to allow to lose in Ukraine when he has nuclear weapons?
I don't think it's so the question is, a lot of people have been thinking for quite some time now, once the big embarrassment, really starts showing itself with their military just being degraded, and then you see what happens. They have to use their black ops team that we just saw this big fake, coup. They had to bring them in, the 40, 50, 60,000 of them because they could actually fight. And there's some pretty evil dudes. And we'll see how that's all going to play out now because of what just happened over the last couple of weeks. Putin this is the last hurrah for Putin. If Putin thinks that he's going to drop what was called tactical nukes, is really the real issue is tactical nukes. The tactical nuke, which no one's really seen before, dropped on the battlefield. If he does that, that's going to be the major trigger point of where things go when it comes to Poland getting engaged, Europe getting engaged more. Confusing scenario, folks, but underline, it ain't good. and it's going to get worse. We'll be back. Welcome back, folks. Craig Bouchon Show. It's a beautiful Monday. I hope you're having a great Monday. Monday's gonna be tough for people I know. It's the beginning of the week. A lot of stuff going on. We just covered cluster bombs. If you missed the segment, go back. We will cover more of that as well as we see this play forward. It's a very, very complex scenario, and who knows what to believe right now? Because remember, media can also be used as a weapon in war as well. In a sense, essentially a leaflet drop, if you will, so on the battlefield. So we're going to find out about that. I'm going to jump right to commercial properties. Folks, this economy is under a tremendous amount of stress, and we have been bleeding through hemorrhaging from the quantitative easing of the $6 trillion or so that's been printed over the last few years. And the Fed is struggling. I was literally at the store earlier today, and they've opened up new BJ's, and which is a whole warehouse like a Costco and stuff like that. So we went and checked that out. You could not get in the store, almost. You couldn't park. It was like a line getting in. Went to Costco, same thing. I said, let's swing by Sam's Club. Same thing. Could not get a parking space, folks. Money's being spent hand over fist. Credit card debt is just eclipsed $1 trillion, folks. Credit card debt in the United States of America just eclipsed $1 trillion. We have over $1.5 trillion in educational debt, okay? Student loans. That's so those two things together, you add that stuff together, it's the size of what? Of the United Kingdom's GDP. Just a couple of our debt scenarios, okay? So, commercial properties. There's over 1 billion. Let's pull that up. What do you got here? Let's see. Empty office space in the United States. This is riveting. It's unbelievable. When you look at this, I love the way this was put together, by the way. Because if you're looking at the show right now, and folks, I'll try to paint the picture if you're just listening to the show. They're showing the different size of skyscrapers. And if you scroll all the way down where it starts, it shows, how high an airplane is. Keep going down. There you go. The height of an airplane flying in the sky, then how many floors a building would be, would have to be. The Washington, D.C., to give you an example, folks. If it was a skyscraper, it'd be 3,699 floors high. That is 40,689 feet. That is higher than most commercial jets fly. All right? It's 11,000 feet higher than Mount Everest. Think about that. And you think that's bad. Let's go to New York City. 3,790 floors. So they're showing these skyscrapers, right? These different heights in this graph. And so you can really visualize this. There's and then go to the other one. Go scroll back up for me real quick. Do you know, keep going a little bit higher. Look how high that goes. My gosh. Floor area, 20,000 square feet per floor, by the way, on a skyscraper. Just to give you an idea. Each floor is 20,000 square feet. Keep scrolling up. I want to see the top of that building. Okay, keep going. Okay. U.S. empty office space, folks. 48,125 floors. That is 529,375 feet high. Okay? It's up there like where we have, space stations. That kind of stuff. So 48,125 floors and growing every single day, folks. Every single day. So what else is this article saying, Eric?
Well, what's interesting is the cities with the most vacancies: New York, D.C., Chicago, Dallas, Houston. They're all progressive,
They are.
liberal cities that have been pushing tech, and the chickens are coming back to roost because people are figuring out I would rather work at home than in an office space, and companies are realizing that's possible with technology.
It says the CBRE group estimates that office towers could lose up to 30% in value this year alone. Because here's what's happening, folks. You've got this perfect storm. First of all, we had this big bubble burst in '08. The one thing that didn't burst at that time, that was heavily towards, Wall Street being over leveraged about 30-1. And they're investing $30, have $1 in the bank to cover it. That's very bad. You can see SVB, what happened there recently, just bad business practice. And so here you are, but then in '08, you didn't have the commercial properties. You didn't have that issue. Now you have the issue of commercial properties. You have the vacancies because these companies have figured out because of COVID, hey, wait a minute, I don't need to have this space. I'm going to have people work remotely. I can outsource this stuff to India and all these other places super cheap. So you're fired, your job, you're fired. And AI, what that's going to do, we're going to talk more about that in the future. But so you're looking at what's happening with jobs, right? People aren't going into work. These spaces are vacant. And then you've got the rates have to be refinanced because a lot of these rates are short-term notes, loans, whatever, and they have to be refied now. So the banking industry, and check this out, the super majority of the banks that own the debt on these properties are small and mid-size banks. So small and mid-size and regional banks, all right? Because check this out. Very small number of these commercial properties are held by big commercial banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all that kind of stuff. And you're seeing that has to happen. See, in this new world order of 2030, remember we've talked about on the show that the digital dollar has to move forward, right? And you can't have small and regional sized banks. So this collapse, this commercial collapse, is going to be a huge stress on them, and you're going to see most likely a tremendous amount of those banks go under, get bought out or absorbed into these bigger banks. All right. You saw that with the SVB and others just in the last couple months. They get absorbed into these bigger banks and they start to monopolize. And so when these small banks go away, folks, that's your small local lender that you can walk into and have a personal relationship with. They are at a very high risk. And that brings us one step closer to the agendas that are happening. So what's a positive? What should happen here? Well, you're going to see some of these banks going to try to refinance, cut that cost, cut that debt, and refinance that to the renters or to the people that have the mortgage, that have to pay the mortgage to drive that cost down. But I suspect for many of those businesses, those business owners, that's not going to make sense, and they're going to cut bait. And when they cut bait, that's a dramatic problem for our economy.
The top 10 cities are all Democrat run. And
sure.
they're saying Manus Clancy, senior managing director at TREP, says an estimated 5 to 10 towers are at risk of defaulting each month.
That's right. I think Blackstone? I think it's Blackstone I think they've had to let some buildings go, and not BlackRock. I think it's Blackstone. That's a different entity, if you will. But yeah, I mean, look, this is, and it's growing. That number I was telling you, and those of you who are watching the show could see that graph. That is mind-boggling. It's very, very scary, and that shoe is about to fall. No doubt about that. They've been trying to push it off. They've been trying to hold it off. So where's the safety net? There isn't one. There's no safety net in these commercial properties. All right. Vacant sites everywhere. So when you're going to start driving around your town, just start looking at all the vacancy signs. You have a tremendous amount of vacancies and nobody wants to go back in. Some of them will be converted to living quarters, turning them into condominiums. I know I saw a building be tore down During COVID, they remodeled it, and it's about a 5-story building and a big office complex, and they tore it down. I think you're going to see a lot of demolitions or conversions into living quarters, because remember, the New World Order wants you to rent. They're not going to be living quarters that you're going to go buy, by the way. It's going to be for rent. Okay, so
do you
bad
see how
stuff, Eric.
do you see how nefarious this could be? I'm going to go a little tin hat and see if you agree with me.
Okay.
If we know that the Fed is monitoring this, and if banks get their real estate owned equity, if they get upside down on real estate owned versus assets in the bank and all that, it's very possible that the Fed, in conjunction with trying to get rid of the small banks, will just say, you have been absorbed. The end.
Yeah, what can happen, unfortunately, is, and I don't think it's really a tinfoil hat or black helicopter stuff. We've seen it happen, folks. We've seen small banks get absorbed. So it's a very delicate time right now, and I wish there was an easy way out of this, and there's not. Some of this we're going to have to ride through and just really watch closely, folks, who's getting involved. Be very, very careful about the wolf, okay? Be very careful about the wolf at the door. You remember Little Red Riding Hood, right? You remember the 3 little bears. You remember all these stories, right? Be very careful that there's people that are going to go in and they're going to pretend like they're the savior, and they're actually there to turn it on you and I. Okay. But I wish we had the answer, Eric, of what it is. This is a bad scenario. It's a really, really bad scenario. And it's going to get worse. That's why, folks, if you're not saving your money, you should. If you're not divesting your 401k from these BlackRock investments, you should. We're going to talk about that as well, folks. We have a segment coming up. We've got a brand new part of the show. We're eventually going to move to 2 hours, just so you know. But we're going to have a financial expert team coming on the show to explain all of these scenarios and what's going on, okay? Because it's important. It's very complex. It's a very, very hard thing to deal with, Eric. And a lot of people don't have experience. We're in unprecedented times right now.
Well, who do you think will end up owning these defaulted massive skyscrapers with no one working? If China's going to buy up the properties, I mean, is that a great opportunity for a penny sale on large properties?
I think you're going to see organizations like BlackRock, Vanguard, the federal government as well will grow. Their goal is to grow the federal government, federal housing. You got to remember, there's lots of people displaced. What about the millions of people that are coming across the border right now, folks? Where are they going? Where are they living? Where do they live? Where are the millions and millions and millions of people who've come across the border? Where are they? Where have they gone? Where are they living? In whose house? What are they eating? What job do they have? Where are they going to the doctor? Are the little kids going to the dentist? Are they getting their shots? Are they going to school? Where are they? Okay, so those people are going to have a place to go. And I suspect some of the good news that'll come out of this is, hey, folks, look how cheap we were able to buy up all this commercial property, and we've turned them into essentially Section 8 or low-income housing or government housing for illegal aliens. Because imagine how many square feet you need to house 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 18, 20 million illegal aliens. Because if you really knew, folks, these illegal aliens are living in apartment complexes and in shanties with 4, 5, 8, 10 families living in these things. They're just living on top of each other, and very dangerous, very unhealthy. And that is a whole other powder keg building that's going to explode in this country, folks. And it's being built on purpose. Fact. So, sorry, didn't mean to take that off there.
No.
It's true. All these things are connected, folks. They're all connected. That's what makes it so hard to follow. So my job and my goal is to connect these dots as we go through, so you can say, oh, okay. Wait a minute. because we have to raise our IQ, folks. We've been dumbed down for decades. They have the average person when it comes to geopolitical and when it comes to understanding the way the government works and civics at about, and I'm serious when I say this, at about third grade, maybe fifth grade at the most. Don't understand the big words in the book type thing. When we come back, folks, is China going to hold us hostage because they control a tremendous amount of the minerals that go into electric vehicles? We'll discuss that when we get back.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took MyPillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented MyPillow to bring you the best pillow in history, MyPillow 2.0. Because of all of you, MyPillow 2.0 has been a huge success, and now we're bringing you our best-selling Go Anywhere MyPillows with the same temperature-regulating technology. Made with my patented adjustable fill and brand-new cooling fabric, they're truly the next generation of MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save over 60% on our MyPillow 2.0 4-pack special. You'll get 2 MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows. Regular $259.92, now only $99.98. King size just $10 more. This is a limited time offer, so please order now.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Craig Bouchon Show. If you want to ever help the show, you want to figure out a way to contribute to the show, okay? I want to tell you a couple ways. You just saw MyPillow, right? And if you go to mypillow.com, I have the pillow. It's great. I have the 2.0, by the way. Much better than the other one, in my opinion. I love the 2.0 pillow. I also have the slippers. They feel great. They really do. And I wanted to wait till I had them to put them on before I talk about them. I've had them. I wear them around. They're great. They're so nice you can wear them to the store, quite frankly. Very durable. You take them outside. They've got the right sole on them, and they're comfortable. I have the sheets as well. The sheets, the Giza sheets. I almost laugh when I talk about it. I've seen the commercial so many times, folks. It's like, my gosh, how many times can I see the commercial? A lot, obviously. But not everybody owns them. You know, there's 300 plus million people in this country. Not everybody has the Giza sheets. You need to get the Giza sheets. You need to get, they're that good. I'm not kidding you. And it's really my wife. I wish my wife, she'll never come on air, just so you know. It's not going to happen. But I'd love to get her on the air because she's the real tough one. And she loves them. They're fantastic. So go to mypillow.com, type in Bouchon, Bushon, get the most money off using that right there. Just go to go to mypillow.com, put in the code Bouchon when you check out, and you're going to get the largest amount of money you can get. Is the best thing there. So you can do that. You can also go to the donate page. You can go right onto the show, the Craig Bouchon Show, and donate. Anything helps. And God bless you for everything you do. Just paying attention. And look, if you don't have the money, don't do it. The show is free. The show is free. This information is free to you. All right. You only do it if you want to do it. You only do it if you think you should do it. And I hope to God that people do. But look, it's up to you. So we get right back to it. Now, is China going to hold the world hostage? Because here's the problem, folks. Oh, wait. Hey, that's Barcelona, whatever her name is. Folks, the only time I see Fox News anymore, just so you know, is when Eric puts it on the show. Because I've like banned them personally.
Yeah,
But
the
you know,
ratings are terrible. They are
they
in the
have
tank.
some things right. They have some things that we have to play because the information is there and you got to play it. So here we are. Electric vehicles we've talked about on the show. The electric vehicle itself I don't mind electric vehicles. I've driven electric vehicles. I think they're fun to drive, quite frankly. They really are. But they're not fun to incorporate into the United States of America economy. Matter of fact, it's a nuclear bomb being dropped on our economy in this third world war by China with the help of Russia. Just that simple. And then the freaking European countries aren't helping either because they're just freaking so stupid. They were so stupid. It's just like when Trump went in and said, "What are you doing, Germany? What are you guys doing? You realize that you're buying fuel. You shut down your nuclear plants. You're shutting down all these things that can make you power. Do you realize that that's going to make you have to buy more from the enemy, that we are helping you? We're helping you by defending you against the potential of that from Russia. Yeah, then look what happened. And now look at the situation we're in with Ukraine. You got the pipeline that had to be blown up because it's war. And now Europe's in, they got lots of problems because they're not that smart. I'm sorry. The people in their government are just not that smart. I'm sorry, but it's true. And then we are following suit. Are you kidding me? Give me a break. So electric vehicles have minerals that need to be used. They have cobalt, they have lithium, and many, many other things. And words you can't even pronounce. You got to go to the chart and you think you're watching the Big Bang Theory. Like, what does Sheldon know about this? So EVs are a big problem because, Eric, go ahead and pull up. Tell the folks what's going on and we'll talk about it.
Well, in addition to China possibly taking us hostage, the World Economic Forum, Fox has a short segment here. They're calling for the end of private car partnerships. So between the Great Reset saying you don't need a car and you don't need to own anything and you'll be happy about it, China will have the leverage to say you don't get the cars anyway. So here's a short segment of them discussing the WEF's call for ending private car ownership.
And it is time for the Hot Topic Buzz. So get this, the World Economic Forum is now looking to reduce ownership of private vehicles. Yes, the forum is claiming that this is a way to reduce global reliance on critical metals like cobalt and lithium as they make a push toward green energy. Dig in, give up your car, why don't you?
Yeah, the World Economic Forum sponsors that little get-together, that boondoggle in Davos every year. Why do major private CEOs even go to that thing? If these are the policies that the World Economic Forum are espousing, they're essentially trying to take away your free will. Oh, you can't drive a car. And again, trying to apply the ideas out of Europe onto the United States. Europe has a lot of mass transit. It's a very small continent. And North America, not so much. So stick that idea where the sun doesn't shine.
It continues there, but I find it interesting that there's an attack on private car ownership while China is getting in a position where they could do it also.
Dagan McDowell hit the nail on the head on that. They can stick it where the sun don't shine. And the fact is that why are they doing this? They're doing this because Europe, the UK, Russia, China, now you can just say the BRICS nations as well. None of them, folks, have what the United States of America has. None of them. They don't have, we have everything. Think about that. We have everything. There is nothing that we need to survive that's not already here in this country. And I know personally, as a man of faith, that is through the grace of God. We have been blessed. And I think it's starting to rear its ugly head on why God has allowed us, this nation, to, if you look at the map back there, you look at the globe, that's a big problem going across here, okay? And we have a lot, there's a lot brewing in this world, and the United States of America is in the way of these agendas, all right? And because we don't need to do any of it, none of it. We don't need to do any of the things that they're talking about. We don't need anything from them, all right? That's why I was so against these trade agreements that sucks us into the globe, and it makes us have to go deal with their issues, and now their issues are our issues. No, they're not. They're not. Imagine in your neighborhood, folks, that all your neighbors' issues were your issues. Now, it is bad if you have a neighbor down the road that never mows their lawn, okay? Never mows it, grows up real high. They never trim their hedges. They have cars parked out in the grass, and it's half dead and half growing. You know what I'm talking about, folks. It does affect the value of the community, but it doesn't directly. You're not having to go over there and start watering their lawn and start paying for all their lawn to be mowed and fix all the cars that are on blocks, right? Well, that seems to be what America is supposed to do. We're supposed to be sucked into their issues, all right? No. We're purposely taking the wheels off our car. Sorry for this maybe poor analogy, but we're purposely detuning ourselves. We are purposely, if we're a speed boat going in the water, okay, just cruising, we're hooking anchors and dragging them behind us on purpose. We don't need to. So I know I'm gonna steer right back to you, Eric. You got more to say. You want to bring up, and I know there's questions, so go ahead.
Well, there's Reuters put out an article that basically, Len, you just said it. Even though we should have never given up the technology and everything to the world, China is controlling up to 80% of the minerals needed to run all of these electric cars that the Biden administration's pushing up to 80. So what happens? So in this scenario, we all are forced into electric cars driven by autonomously, and then they can't get batteries, and we don't have gas-powered cars. What happens to the American culture and economy?
Well, again, all that's happening, folks, is exactly what I've been talking about. And I was talking about way before I came back on air. One of the reasons I came back on air, folks, I'm doing this show, is because this is stuff I've been talking about for years. And I didn't see people explaining it to you and bringing up the things so you can get it, so your IQ can go up and you understand what's being weaponized against you. And that's the whole goal, is to show you this stuff so you can defend yourself and defend your family, which is defending this country, okay, the republic. And, these words like germanium, who the heck? I have no idea what germanium is until I research what germanium is. And this is a very, very rare mineral. What is it? 60% of the world's germanium,
60%.
According to European Industry Association, Critical Raw Material Alliance, it comes and produced out of China. Now, it doesn't mean that's the only place it's at, by the way, just so you know. It's just that that's where it's been allowed to be produced. And guess what the problem with that is? What is it? Gallium in germanium, gallium right there, Gallium. Gallium.
80%.
Minerals are used for weapon systems, folks. They take higher heat, okay, when it goes into chip, better than silicon, okay? The silicon can't take the heat. It's for these weapon systems and infrared goggle technology, which we're the leader in the world in, all right? If we can't get this stuff because the enemy, who's China, controls the supermajority of it, and we're at war, not good. So what do? We got to start producing these things right here in the United States of America. It's time to open it all up, folks, starting now, okay? So go ahead.
No, so basically where these come from is this massive amount of production that China does that the U.S. will not let American corporations do because of pollution. So China is getting 60% of this germanium as a byproduct of zinc production and from coal fly ash. So as they produce things, they get this mineral out of it, and they're able then to go and use it to make car batteries. And so because our country is shutting down industries by saying save the world, China's opening coal burning plants, which allows them to make more germanium, and this gallium, which comes from producing aluminum and or bauxite. So China's producing all these things and then taking their byproducts and making the minerals for car batteries, which if they get mad at us, they could say no car batteries, and then all these cars are just going to sit in
Absolutely.
the US.
100%. we're bowing down, literally, folks, bowing down to the Chinese government, where we are the ones that actually have the position of power. We discussed this yesterday, or excuse me, the show on Friday. We have the position of power. We are giving that power, no pun intended, to them. We are literally cutting our nose off to spite our face. This is ridiculous. So things have to change, and they change by who you have in office. They change by voting. They change by you getting engaged, okay? And we're going to go to a quick break here, because when we come back, I'm going to connect a dot for you folks. I'm going to connect the dot of the EV world and then power itself, coal and all that. And we're going to talk really quick about nuclear and what's coming at a very special. We talked about 2030, folks. There's something else coming maybe by 2030 that can change the entire dynamic for the United States of America and our power grid. We'll be back.
Made it right. Suddenly I see the light. Now when I'm walking home
Welcome back, folks. Craig Bouchon Show. Go to craigbouchonshow.com. Go to americaican.com as well. And also, hey, remember this. Remember, the truth is not hate speech. Okay? You want to help support the show? Go buy some of these shirts. They're fantastic. Wear them proudly, because this show, folks, is about the truth, and it is not hate speech. It's what we need to hear more of. And, go to the Facebook page for the show. You'll see a link there. Scroll down. You'll see it. Go buy it. It's fantastic. God bless you. Anything helps us. So real quick, I'm going to pull something up here. I'm going to, once again, try to be like Eric and pull up something. I want you to see. So I'm going to connect the dot for you. We've talked about the 2030 agenda. All right. But and all what they want to do, and all the wind, solar, all this stuff we're spending all this money on, and this boondoggle. You heard that on that Fox clip, by Dagan McDowell. She said boondoggle. How many times have I said boondoggle, folks? Boondoggle has been my word of the week sometimes, and so I'm going to pull this up because this is what you've not heard about, and you should, because. Let me get it right here, and I'm going to share it. There it is, right there, folks. Okay. Nuclear. 3 advanced reactor systems to watch by the year 2030. 2030 seems to be a popular year. The UN and the WEF have their 2030 agenda. Well, what about the United States of America's agenda to have more power? Well, here it is, folks. 3 advanced reactor systems to watch by 2030. What this technology does, it uses a sodium-cooled fast reactor system, okay? And where am I seeing this at? Well, Office of Nuclear Energy. Well, right there in the federal government, right there. Office of Nuclear Energy is right there. You can check it out. This has been going on for years, kind of flying under the radar. But this is technology. This sodium-cooled fast reactors allows, they cool the, they're not using water anymore, okay? It's a 4th-generation reactors are being developed through an international cooperation of 14 countries, including the United States. The U.S. Department of Energy and its national labs are supporting research and development on a wide range of new advanced reactor technologies that could be a game changer for nuclear industry. These innovative systems are expected to be cleaner, safer, and more efficient than previous generations. There are 3 designs they're currently working on within the industry partners to help meet these future energy needs. And it's called sodium cooled fast reactor, SFR. It uses liquid metal sodium as a coolant instead of water that is typically used in U.S. commercial power plants. This allows for the coolant to operate at a higher temperature and lower pressures than current reactors, improving the efficiency and safety of the systems. The SFR also uses the fast neutron spectrum, meaning that neutrons can cause fission without having to be slowed down first as they are in current reactors. This could allow SFRs to use both fissile material, and listen to this, folks, right here, and spent fuel from current reactors to produce electricity. Very high temperature reactor, okay? And this temperature reactor is cooled by flowing gas, and it goes on and on and on. You can just check it out. It's right there. You can look for yourself. But what's this kind of really, what's these dots we're connecting? Well, the big complaint that there's always been when it comes to nuclear is that what are you going to do with all the spent fuel rods? Well, do you know that we already can get rid of the supermajority of that? We can reuse it in other forms, but in this case, we'll be able to reuse all of it. So basically, keep operating all of the ones that we have right now. We just opened one up recently, I think in Colorado, if I remember right. And that one is going to have these spent fuel rods still using water technology and the steam coming out and all that. But those spent fuel rods and all the ones we have stored in the mountains, guess what could be used here? How come you don't know about it? Well, how come no one's talking about it? How come it's not plastered everywhere that this is the stuff that's being worked on, right? You need to know about these things. And so that is the type of stuff that really frustrates me. The type of data that you don't get. You are being told that wind and solar is going to be the way it's going to go, and it's the best thing. And my gosh, look, and how bad coal is, and how bad nuclear is. I think it's a game changer, Eric. What do you think? Game changer.
I think if the Biden administration was not in bed with the World Economic Forum, then the private and the public sectors would be focusing on this instead of forcing millions of homes to put solar panels that pollute the air to be created and to have a short life cycle. But it can be done now as they're trying to scare the children into this lie of climate change.
100%. You got to understand, folks, that there's money to be made right now, and they want to be able to make that money right now and burn through all your cash. I mean, look how in debt you and I are, folks, because of these boondoggles, these bridges to nowhere. These freaking politicians keep spending money hand over fist and lining their pockets. We've talked about BlackRock and JP Morgan. What are they doing? What do they want to do? They're going over there and they want to make as much money as they can in this boondoggle of a war in Ukraine. And, so when you look at the 3 reasons why nuclear is clean and sustainable, Eric, talk about that for a second, because this is important. You need to understand this, folks.
Okay, well, because I haven't heard nuclear. That's why I thought we would talk about this. No one's talking about it, but according to energy.gov, the great thing about nuclear is that it protects air quality. There's 0 emissions.
That's right, 0.
Okay, it has a small footprint compared to massive amounts of space for solar panels. 360 times more space is required for wind farms than nuclear. And there's minimal waste. And like you're talking about, just like China figured out how to take byproducts and make the minerals for cars, our government, with this money that they've been investing in research and development, is figuring out how they can take waste of nuke and use it again. So I think there's something more to this lack of interest in nuclear than, well, we're just really focusing on solar. There seems to be an intentional neglecting of nuclear, even though the technology is there.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to also understand something. Let's say there is a war. Look at these soft targets. First of all, solar collectors that are going square miles, these fields that are targets that you could drop bombs on easily in cloudy days, and when war happens, and God forbid that ever happen in this country, and smoke is everywhere, you're not getting any sun on those collectors. So forget that. And they're easy to blow up. They're easy to damage. They're a soft target. Then you look at wind generators. Same thing. It's the same thing. They're a softer target. The wind has to be blowing. If the wind blows too hard, they can't work. If the wind blows too soft, it doesn't work. It has to have this perfect balance. And they're heavy maintenance. They take tremendous amount of minerals and metals to build them. And another soft target. You look at a nuclear plant and the way that they can be constructed. They can be heavily fortified. Well, they have to be heavily fortified, but they can even be more heavily fortified. They're a smaller target. They're harder to hit. It'd be easier to protect as well. You know, if you ever really in a full war going on our ground, and then in Europe as well, because remember, there's 14 total of 14 countries involved in this. So I love this. That's great news. It's phenomenal news. I'm excited about it. It makes me feel good. My stress level goes down just a little bit because I think it's fantastic. But for some reason, we're not talking about it. They're just not talking about it. But we're talking about it here on the show because you need to know. You need to share with your friends. You got to share this show. You got to share it. Say, like, check this out. You have to do it. And then what else do we do? Well, we have to get engaged. We have to get together. We have to go to americaican.com, americaican.com. And when you go there, read it. You'll see what it is. And we're updating some things. You know, we're really formulating this. But the basics of it is that it's about you and I getting engaged. It's about you and I understanding what our job is as an American citizen. And since the majority of the people in this country never serve in the armed forces, 99% never serve, and most people were born in this country and they've never had to take an oath in their life for anything. And so we have an oath on the page. And that oath is so important for you to go and read. And this is it right here. If you're watching, you just pause it. Just pause and then read this. This is the citizen oath. All right. And this is something you'll see that this has Ron Phillips' signature on it. He's one of our people, partner within the programming, and it could have your name on it. There's one right here as well. Here's one with my name on it. You can go to the website. You can sign the oath. You don't have to buy anything. I wish you would. I wish you'd buy a plaque. I really would, because we make a little bit of money when you buy the plaque. Not a ton of money, a little bit of money. Help us fund things, but only do it if you want to do it. But sign it. And know that it's important that you have something that reminds you and your family members and your kids what it is to be an American, all right? And then, on top of that, we have the candidate oath. One is hanging on the wall behind me. This is the candidate oath, right? Right here. And the candidate oath is the same oath with a little bit different verbiage at the end. It's about responsibility for them and responsibility for us. We're connecting those dots, all right? We have to be directly connected to the politician, and they have to know that we're there and we're going to hold them accountable. And then they're all going to be issued an American pin that they can wear on their lapel. We'll have other things too, their brooch, you wear a hat, whatever. But you're going to look for politicians who have the American pin, because you know that they took the oath, the same oath that you did. Your oath says that you're going to watch out and pay it to them, and you're going to hold them responsible. And their oath says that they're going to do what they said they're going to do, and they know that you are watching them. And then you'll remove them from office if they don't do it. So it's a powerful thing. It's a powerful, powerful movement that we are starting. We need 100 million people. 100 million people in this country have got to move forward. Just the Christians alone, folks, can do the supermajority of the heavy work. Just the Christians. Roughly 62 to 67%, depends on who you ask, of this country are Christians. We're God-fearing Americans. We're all connected. I don't care what brand of God you are. I don't care what kind of rules that you've put together right now in your church versus the other church, or how good your band is. I don't care. What I care about is that we unite together and that we understand that we can only win this battle together and through the grace of God. That's the only way to win this fight. The only way. So you go to americaican.com. If you have any issues, we have a brand new email, okay? If you have issues signing it, or if you can't, you want to get the plaque and you can't, or if you try to get the shirt, the truth is not hate speech shirt, something's going on. You have questions to ask as well. Everything comes to this one email, and it's contact@craigbouchonshow.com. Contact@craigbouchonshow.com. That's the key. We're in this together, folks. God bless you. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you.